Hello, welcome to episode 5?
5, yeah.
Of the Autocar Vodcast, Middle-Aged Tread, where two middle-aged men sit in a car and try not to complain about things.
Yeah, we did quite well in the last one. We didn't complain too much.
No.
I'm literally going to go off-road
I did
here.
think that you took a wider line than I expected.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in a Range Rover, well, full-fat Range Rover.
It is, yeah. An L405.
L405. Now, shall I tell you why?
Please.
I'll tell you for why. So, I once... Well, do you ever keep like a dream garage list in your head?
Yes, obviously.
I know somebody who keeps one on his phone. But that's a full-time job, isn't it? Because mine changes all the time.
Yeah.
Top 10 dream cars. Anyway, about a couple of years ago, during actually one of the lockdowns, version 2.0, the bad follow-up lockdown album.
The difficult second album.
The difficult second lockdown. I put a little thing on one of the socials going, I sometimes dream of top 10 cars. I'm stuck at home. Here is the dream garage that I would have. How about you? And more than 1,000 people replied. It's a lot, isn't it?
It is. Well, I think it exercises more people than you'd think.
Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah, maybe
people like us. There's more of us, I'd like to think, out there, who, when they should be thinking about mortgage rates and water bills and stuff like that, just get lost in a sea of. If I won $1 million,
would I have a McLaren F1 or a Ferrari F40 or both?
Important questions that need to be answered.
Yeah. Anyway, going through it, the most single model people picked was a Porsche 911, but they were very specific about, I want this 911, that 911, a brand new one, or a 2.7 RS or whatever it might be. But the other two really big cars that were on so many lists were, one, an Audi RS6, and two, a Range Rover. Because everybody goes, well, I must have a daily. I must have a practical, sensible, fit the dog, ride, do a distance.
The one that the not sad reality, but the stark reality is, it's the one you'll drive all the time.
Yeah.
You'll ignore all the others. They'll gather dust probably.
Do you think?
Because you'll find
the Mercedes 300 SL would actually go slightly to waste.
Yeah.
Might do, might not. And you just drive one of these all the time.
Because as we're just finding now, it's lovely and wafty. It's really easy. It's imperious,
isn't it? Yeah, and it was this generation of Range Rover, and it was the V10 generation of Audi RS6, which cropped up quite a lot. And also, people going, well, look, you might as well have cylinders. So this has got a.
So this is the supercharged V8. It's 5 litre, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a lot of horsepower, 500 and something.
Yeah,
just over 500,
503. Is that right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're going to go for an old Range Rover and all the expense that will inevitably incur, you might as well go big and have a.
Well, you might as well. Should we turn here? Is that the best way?
Yeah, I think. Well, let's go through these. Oh no! See.
There was a big lump there, wasn't there? A big pothole.
There was,
and it just shifted it aside.
It did. They're just so. As luck would have it, we are in the process of also capturing a feature where we compare new and used vehicles.
Yeah. And
so that's part of the reason we have an RS6 V10 and this lovely L405 Range Rover.
So this is what, about 2013, is it? Is that right?
So this is 2013. This is an early one. So this is I don't know whether we're not the BBC. This is on sale with a couple of young enthusiast traders who they seem to stock the sort of cars you or I would like.
Really?
They're called Heel and Toe. They're based in Essex, and they've come along for the day very kindly and let us drive around in this.
Tell me that's their surnames.
I wish it were Jeff Heel and Dave Toe.
Yeah.
No, sadly not. No, they're called Christian and Billy.
Okay.
But
they're very nice, aren't they?
They are very nice guys, and they're really into their cars.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about how they've had quite a surge in interest in Range Rovers, which may have something to do with your top 10 list.
Oh, interesting.
But L322s in particular.
Right.
So they've very kindly supplied this L405.
Yeah.
And I'm really liking it. I drove them in period, obviously. It feels like yesterday, but obviously they're 10-year-old cars now, 10, 11-year-old cars.
Yeah.
To me, this rides with a bit more waft than the current car, I think.
Yeah, especially the higher you go with the new one.
Yeah.
If you get like the extended wheelbase with the 4 seats and stuff in the back, I'm not sure it's as Range Rovery as the more basic ones,
no.
which feel I think extending the wheelbase doesn't do the ride any favours, and I think the sort of the cheaper they are. I mean, they're all expensive. They're all 100 and something now, aren't they?
Yeah.
The cheaper they are, the better they are in a way of the new one. But this dash is really lovely, isn't it? That it's got this sort of vertical elements, and then this big slab going through the middle. It's quite nautical in a way. It's quite, the material stuff is good. Does it creak yet? Is it squeaking?
I mean, this road is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
In parts, there's some leather creaking. So this has got the extended seat packaging thing in the back. So it's got the 2 individual seats with a lovely centre console with your heated.
And they move a bit, do they, as well?
They do. They recline and the like. So I mean, it's done 75,000 miles. So
Okay.
I'm willing to cut it a bit of slack.
Great.
And talking about, I'm doing a bit of a sales job now, aren't I? How much do you think? 71 owner.
Well, this was going to be my next question. What was it when new?
This is an autobiography, 5-litre supercharged. It had to start with a 1 and then
surely, when it was rare that they started at 100. So
yeah.
I'm going to say 30,000.
This one,
yeah.
Currently, you can have this for 21,750.
21.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's a lot of car, but not much cash, and it's still. And I think this is the thing with used cars these days. We've sort of reached that peak now where they still feel. I've driven the new Range Rover, and when you push on, it's much more precise, much more body control. This is a bit more soft and imprecise, but it's not terrible in any way, shape or form. And going back to our daily driver, Dreamt daily driver.
Yeah.
God, it's good at that, isn't it?
Well, I've always found them good at that because they steer reasonably slowly and lightly, don't they?
Yeah.
But their stability is good. And actually in the UK a lot, because we have a lot of gnarly roads, you can see the sides very easily. I know it's a big car, and it's quite a thirsty car. I see the average is 21.7 per gallon.
In fairness, in deference to young Christian who drove it up, it was at 24.7.
Oh, was it? Before we started?
We've started ruining it. Like all good motoring journalists, we've got in it and just given it the full move straight away. Yeah. Because it's got a 5-litre supercharged V8. But you're right. I mean, I drove up here in the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, and this feels more wieldy at normal speeds along roads because you can see where it is. That Ioniq is a big old bus.
Yeah.
Physically.
I've just put my head into a head restraint and it squished. And I forgot they squish.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, man. A man alive. Well...
I can't think of an occasion where it's old enough now that it doesn't have the slightly brash, arriviste connotations of
arriviste, good word. Yeah, there are places I wouldn't necessarily turn up in it.
Okay.
I mean, if I was going down to Glyndebourne, fine. Or you're going to, pick a child up from school, fine. But if you were going to go somewhere into London, might you start to think maybe people will think I'm a bit of a...
I don't know.
Or is it classless now? Is it all right?
For me, I mean, you're right. People are going to think different things. What's different about this? It's in a kind of lovely silvery metallic colour, which sort of changes slightly in the light. Clear glass, so it's not got privacy glass,
which is nice.
So it hasn't got the uniform that they all have now of black with black wheels and dark privacy glass. So you're not looking like that demographic.
It does say old money a bit, doesn't it?
It does, and I think when you're old money, you don't give a monkeys where you park your Range Rover.
Maybe that's true. Yeah, maybe that's true.
I'm just gonna because we've got a little bit. I'm just gonna. Oh, and it goes some.
It does. Yeah.
I mean, it's not fast anymore.
No, but that's fine, mate. I mean, because
It's
there's only so fast you can drive on the road anyway.
Exactly.
I was saying the other day, I was in a new Prius, I think, and they are reasonably quick now. I think there's like 7 or something to 60 or something like 7.5.
6.8, I believe.
6.8.
I read your first drive, and you.
And I read, yes,
very good. I enjoyed it.
Very kind. I like the car, and I did get quite a long way around the route I was doing, thinking I've not used anything like full throttle in this car. Because you can't, and that was in the middle of Scotland. Because you just can't and don't, can you? So this, I don't need a car to be any really faster than this, really.
No, and you'd probably
it makes that noise. So,
I mean, the last of the diesels are Euro 6, so they're ULEZ compliant. Whereas this era, 2013, wouldn't be. So that's why you have a petrol.
That's why you have a petrol.
That's why you have a petrol.
Save you 16 quid on the very occasional day that you go into London.
Exactly. But no, I've digressed. I quite like. I'm intrigued by the new Prius. I always liked the previous generation one that was on that platform, the TGNA.
Oh yes.
I thought they always drove quite nicely.
Yeah, it drives me even nicer now, I think. Right. So anyway, let's because we need to. Yeah, because we should.
Should we try
on the RS6 and then decide. But I could see if I had nine cars. I mean, there's a Vodcast in itself, but and this or the RS6.
Yeah.
So far, I'm feeling pretty contented if it was this.
I'd struggle. It sounds terrible, but if you had all those different cars in your garage and you just wanted to get out and go most of the places you want to get in a car, as you were saying, even up in Scotland, you can't use the performance. You just want to get there. Stressful. I'm already more. I mean, it's not just your company. I'm quite relaxed now. I am very chilled out, and it's very difficult to get that on the road these days.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's pull in and we'll get in that Audi and make a decision.
Let's do it. This is lovely. I like this. Let's pull up. Do a limo stop. See if we can chauffeur stop it. Oh, just about. It's nice.
I'm impressed. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Let's move on.
So this is a 2008-ish?
2008, yeah.
RS6.
Yes, so it's a C6 in code word terms, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think we're up to a C8 now.
Yeah, a lot of people was like, I'd have a V10. Because you know what? I don't know if you can hear that much over the rain.
It's quite rainy now.
It's quite rainy, isn't it? But we'll have to live with that, I think.
I think I can understand why I'm very I'm drawn towards this car because the logic of it still amuses me. It's effectively a Lamborghini.
It's a Lambo engine, isn't it? Basically,
yeah, Lamborghini V10.
Yeah.
Which is naturally aspirated in the. It would have been what then, Gallardo, or were we getting into
Gallardo? Yeah, I think. Yeah, 2008 would have been Gallardo.
Yeah, and Audi have gone. Well, I tell you what, let's put that in the state car.
Detune it a little, but boost it up.
Yeah, we'll stick a couple of turbos on it because that's probably what it needs.
Yeah.
Because you could get this naturally aspirated in the S6, I believe, couldn't you?
Oh yes, I think you're right, mate.
So I think that's why they gave it a bit of a boost for the RS6.
For the RS6. I drove it down here this morning.
Yeah.
It does not have the Range Rover's waftability.
No, I'm sensing that now.
Could you feel that?
It's quite brittle.
It is quite brittle, isn't it? And I think that's back in an era when the RS4 aside, the one that people really like.
B7.
Yeah, thank you. Glad you're here.
Oh, that's quite all right. Any Tour de Course winners you need to know, just give me a shout.
Was it 90? When did the Tour de Course start?
Oh, that's beyond my pay grade.
But if I asked you a 1970s Tour de Course winner?
Oh no, I might struggle then because I'm
You're
I'm
80s,
more
so
Group A
80s,
and
90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll try me. I'm trying to think.
79?
Oh
no. All right. Anyway, so yeah, it's of the era when Audis were still a little.
Go on
the nuggety side.
They were, yes.
Well, I think it was somebody said this to me, and it might be not true.
Okay.
But they said the reason that Audis started to ride well, is because a lot of execs swapped between various companies in Volkswagen Group, as they do. Some ended up working for Bentley and Crewe with Audi company cars, and they realised that the ride was diabolical on the roads around Crewe, and they were like, actually, maybe we need to sort this out.
Yeah.
But I think this car was of an era when ride comfort was not necessarily the top priority at Audi.
No, and I'm going to say that's evident.
Yeah, and also it's quite a heavy, because it's still hydraulically assisted steering, it feels its age, and I didn't expect that, because when we road tested this car, we used Myra Proving Ground in Nuneaton, and it had the wet handling circuit.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that this car was quicker around the wet handling circuit than any other car we'd had before. And it kept that record for quite a long time. And I think, I'm pretty sure I wrote it at the time, because it weighs, I want to say it weighs like 5 kilos under 2 tons.
I think you're not far off.
Or it's just over 2 tons or something. And I seem to remember writing, you know what, this is as peak as it's going to get in terms of weight and performance and everything. You know, we're going to look back on this time because we were starting to get concerned about CO2 and everything else. I thought, thinking, right, we're going to look back on this time as the absolute max of waste is the wrong word, but consumption, I suppose. You know what I mean? This is as consumptive as these things are going to get. And boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's a shame, really. You're not normally wrong, but I think on that one you...
Quite a lot. But
it would be understand.
But do you know what I mean? You sort of think, wow, hang on, this is an estate car that weighs 2 tons. Surely no estate car's ever going to weigh 2 tons.
It's got a V10 engine.
And they all weigh 2 tons.
Yeah, and they don't have V10 engines.
They don't have V10
and they're not high-performance ones. I mean,
no, but I am driving that BMW i5 touring at the moment. And it makes this feel really old. Yeah. And also because modern cars are all electrically assisted on the steering front, they steer much more lightly. So even though they're heavier, they feel lighter because the control weights are that bit lighter and more responsive. You can tune an EPAS system in so many different ways.
I tell you another weird thing that ages it. Is that thing you've just touched there, the gear shifting. It feels like a massive, like a medieval piece of equipment when you slot it from park to drive.
I do quite like that. It's only got 20,000 miles on it, and
it still goes quite well, doesn't it?
It does go quite well, doesn't it? It still does go quite well.
And it's got proper quattro as well. Now I get quite hot under the collar about. I like 4-wheel drive. I think 4-wheel drive is perfect for the road.
Really?
Yeah. I understand the enthusiasts rear-wheel drive. I love a rear-wheel drive car. Don't get me wrong, but I think for most cars, most of the time, proper permanent 4-wheel drive, like this quattro system, this Torsen system, is great because I mean it's greasy now. Where the listeners have heard the rain, and those watching will have seen the rain, probably.
Well, I sort of shot most of the exterior stuff without any rain.
Well, maybe they'll have caught.
So they may have seen some through the back window.
Yeah. But this is a greasy, wet
day.
surface. You put your foot down, and it's not. Even with modern EVs, you sense the electronics are managing. That's just everything's going through the tyres now, and it's just off it goes.
Yeah.
It's not a horsepower loss. Yeah. There's a theory that they're actually very efficient because you're apportioning all your force through 4 contact patches.
Yeah.
You're not losing as much in even front-wheel drive cars or rear-wheel drive cars when they're being driven normally. Yeah. There's still a slight bit of over-rotation going on because tyres flex and move.
Because you have to. Well, and also you have to have a little bit of over-rotation, otherwise you don't overcome the drag that.
Yeah. And so 4-wheel drive,
you're against.
You're apportioning that power more evenly.
Oh, I see. But then you also there is a little tweak in that which I should stop. But also that countering that isn't. That is bad. Countering that is there not extra friction in the drive line?
There is. So there's
where you gain on one, you lose.
It's not fuel efficiency. It's more about efficiency of power. How you use the power. Yeah. No. They are. There's lots of driveline losses, aren't there? All that sort of thing.
Which would outweigh the extra efficiency you get from
I quite get exercised about 4-wheel drive. I like it on road cars. It's a very 80s thing. We got quite excited about 4-wheel drive in the 80s, post original Quattro.
Yeah.
And then electronics took over, and people went, we can imitate traction much more easily and cheaply by using ABS and throttle.
I see.
System.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Oh, I've got off topic then, haven't we?
Well, a little, but
as a dream daily driver.
So yeah, dream daily driver. There's a V8 supercharged Range Rover, or one of these. Oh, well, Dream Daily is Dream Daily. It's Dream Daily.
Do you know what? I want this one because I love the concept. But that Range Rover still feels like a modern Range Rover. But I feel that the used RS6 is probably the next generation, the C7. That's maybe the peak. I think that's got enough modernity and ride comfort, and that's the one with the V8, 4-litre V8 twin turbocharged. That might be your ultimate used daily RS6.
So what we're saying is, in your top 10 dream garage.
Yes.
Garage.
Well, if it's top 10, can I have room for both of them?
Well, it's up to you, mate. Yeah, but you would have to, whether you'd be losing something else. Well, not losing something else, but I sort of think with car collections, you kind of want to think cars that do different things. But maybe 10 cars gives you enough room that you could have both of these and use both of these.
I think.
But I mean, my idea when I suggested this particular VOD was we pick one or the other.
Yeah. You put me in a. See, I'm
in a spot.
Sorry,
did you say that?
I saw that
because I was looking at you. I didn't quite see that butthole coming until I was nearly on it, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's.
And we both winced, and it
was
did nothing.
fine.
The tyres are so wide. I think it basically just covered it either side.
thing.
Yeah. I think I'm fairly anti SUV overall, but like you, I also have an old Defender, so
that's a 4x4, not an SUV.
Yeah, that's true. And so there is part of me that would struggle with that part of Range Rover ownership.
Right.
But then you drive them and you think, oh God, they're bloody good, aren't they? They are so easy to live with.
Yeah.
I mean, forget that it might go wrong expensively.
Yeah, you can forget that because it's Dream.
Yeah. The ride undermines this car's claim to be. If it rode with some of the sophistication you get with a more modern RS product, you'd go, oh yeah, lovely. V10, lovely, because it's quite understated apart from the big wheel arches.
This is really understated, I think. Yeah, and that's what I like about it. Is I drove it down this morning and nobody gave it a second glance, and I quite like that sometimes. In a daily, that's what I would be looking for.
Because the latest one's quite angry, quite in your face.
Look at that and people think you're a bit of a tool.
Yeah, you're trying too hard to be.
I don't think this just slips under the radar.
Oh, it's very tough.
Well, all right, we're nearly back.
You go first.
Countdown. I'm going to say in my dream garage, I would. Maybe I'd have neither exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I'd have an older Range Rover.
Ooh, what?
Classic.
A proper Spend King.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe, but I am aware they are not as comfortable to drive and easy to drive every day.
No, there's a lot of Defender underneath.
And maybe I'd have an Alpina D3 instead of one of these, or B3.
Oh,
B3.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's not a bad shout actually.
But if I had to have one or the other, it's the Range Rover.
Yes, I think by a narrow margin, surprising myself narrowly. I really like this. I love the concept, but
if they were both outside my house every morning, I think I would jump in the Range Rover more often than this.
God, yes, maybe I would. I love fast estate cars, and I love subtle fast estate cars. And
this is that.
Audi is, they are the progenitor of with the RS2, the fast estate car. But that ride would get on my nerves.
So there you go. We don't have a conclusion at the end of this fortnight's, this month's, whatever.
I think that's fine. I think that's part of the top 10, isn't it? It has to keep.
Well, I mean, mine does change every single day. I would absolutely change mine all the time. A dream 10-car garage.
I'm hoping we can continue not to come up with conclusions. Otherwise, this series is going to end quite quickly, and I'm quite enjoying doing it. So if we have to keep coming back each week.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. We're going to argue about this some more. We're going to agree some more.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.